It was partially demolished, but now is being preserved. A church in Cornwall, left derelict and vandalised for years, has been handed over to residents so they can bring the building to life once again. St Day Church hasn't been used for worship for more than 60 years, but there are now plans to turn it into a community arts centre. Eleanor Parkinson reports.
This neglected, roofless church, described by the English poet Sir John Betjeman as an ecclesiastical toy fort, was built in 1828. But by the 1950s, it had been declared structurally unsound and was abandoned. But it wasn't always like that. When it was built, the diocese had had high aspirations for the church and the surrounding mining community.
It was built very big because they thought St Day was going to become a big town because the mining was booming and everybody was optimistic. And then, of course, the mining declined in the mid-19th century. So it was always too big, it was difficult to maintain. It was built in a rather strange way, structurally, a bit daring. So it always had problems. There was a newspaper headline in 1875 that said St Day Church Tower is about to fall down. Well, it's still here.
And because of the structural problems, the church was declared unsafe and sealed off in the 50s. The weather then took its toll and it was regularly vandalised. In 1985, some children got into the church. A pillar was moved and part of the roof collapsed. Because of fears the whole roof would come in, it was dynamited. It became the church that time forgot. In more recent years, there was a plan to develop the site for housing, but the residents of St Day were determined it should be preserved. Grants were secured, some restoration work was done, and now they're celebrating as it's been formally handed over to them. They want to turn it into a community space for theatre, music and the arts.
We're already getting requests from people to use it. I already had one this morning in our local shop. And the community now does feel that it owns the church, and this has happened only in the last few years.
The residents have formed a community interest company and they've got support from all over the world, mainly because of its mining connections. They say this iconic church now has a future.